direct energy. So come to that seated position, take your hands to the thighs, and simply close the eyes, and this will help us focus on those energy centers more easily without distractions. Even if there are distractions, don't worry about it. Just allow them to incorporate themselves into your breath work, into our time together here. Since we're all over the world in different places in our homes, we can work those distractions right into the practice. So we'll begin by observing the breath as usual. We'll just come into an awareness of the breath, being a witness to your breath. Beginning with the basics of yoga, connecting the mind, the body, and the spirit through the breath. And as we are seated here, I'm going to mention those three energy centers, those strength centers called bandhas in the body, where the bottom is the pelvic floor that supports us and the energy rising towards the navel. And then you've got the diaphragm, a giant support in the middle, so like the lower ribs, and it wraps around the body in supporting the breath. And then at the throat, you've got that other support system there between the head and the body. So those are the three bandhas. And we've engaged them by, let's begin with the root. So we'll start with that pelvic floor. That energy, as we move through our poses, will pull up from the pelvic floor, and as if a light were going through your center, pulling up towards the navel. So you're engaging your deep core there when you do that. Coming to the bandha at the center point of our torso, we're going to tuck the low ribs in just a little bit and then shine the heart forward. So feel that tucking of that low rib. That is your transverse abdominis, and that's supporting your diaphragm and your breath. And then up at the throat chakra, actually, well, it's a chakra and a bandha at the same time, but for the purpose of today, it's your strength center, your bandha. You're just tucking your chin in slightly, not having the chin up towards the ceiling, not having it down towards the floor, but just on a supported horizon line, slightly tucked in, so that, again, coming back to Tuesday's lesson, we're taking the base of the skull aligned with the sacrum and the scapula. So with all that said, let's support the breath. So let's support those centers with the breath. And if it all confuses you, don't worry about it. Just throw out all the verbiage and we can just breathe. One kind of conscious breath that we did on Tuesday is Kapalabhati breath. So this is an energizing breath that brings that energy upward through the bandhas. And we take a large deep breath and then puff the air out through the nostrils 10 times. So we'll just try this, and we'll try it in 3 repetitions. You take a large breath in and then squeeze air out in puffs in and out quickly. So it sounds like this, if you can hear me. And my belly is squeezing in and squeezing the air in and out. So if you don't get it right the first time, don't worry, but let's just inhale big, and then 10 repeats of this puffed breath out, in and out. Big inhale in now after the 10, and exhale, just come back to your breath. If you're dizzy at all, just come back to breath, and you can skip this part. We'll take another repeat. Inhale, fill the belly. Exhale, do the Kapalabhati breath. And then inhale big through the rib cage, belly, collarbones. And we'll do one more round, 10 puffs. Inhale big, exhale long. Excellent try on that breath that actually tones your core as well. as your breath at the same time. So we're going to now switch to reclining, where we'll get into those bandhas and lining them up. This is my recline and align part of the class. So take your blanket and place it under your head and come down to a full recline. So because it's the early part of most of your day, it's a nice way to start out, nice and easy, full length on the mat. Let's take the feet, and we're going to take them about hip width apart. The feet are going to stand as if they were standing in mountain pose. So your toes are spread out and your feet are standing on an imaginary surface. And you can leave your palms open to the sky and shimmy the shoulders underneath you. Again, you can close the eyes as I talk about the bandhas. So now we're in this horizontal position, but let's visit in our mind's eye, those strength centers. So we've got the pelvic floor lifting towards the navel, and then you've got the low ribs, and see if you can have your low ribs touch the mat a little bit. Your arch of the lower spine will be there. It won't be touching the mat. That's perfectly healthy. And then the low ribs are tucked in. When you tuck them in, you'll feel that engagement of your abdominals. And then let's come up to the throat, and then the chin is just tucked slightly, nice and comfortable. Again, roll those shoulders underneath you. And just feel yourself here as if you were in a standing position. All of those three aligned nicely to support you. You should feel very strong in this alignment. Like balanced, even though we're horizontal, if you were standing, you'd be very strong and balanced. So you're aligning your energies to support movement. So beginning with a little bit of movement, let's just move the head side to side. You can release the feet now and just relax them. And then your head will go side to side. So we're supporting that movement that we sometimes do sitting up, where we're turning side to side, taking a right turn with the chin over the right shoulder, and then a left turn with your chin, making this nice and easy back and forth. And then bring your chin to neutral, and we'll tuck the chin in slightly, and the neck arch will flatten towards the mat. Your chin will tuck towards the junk in between the the collarbones. Inhale, and then bring the chin up just slightly. Exhale, bring it down to the jugular notch again. Feel your breath supporting this movement. Up and down with the chin. No force, just relaxing here. Now come back to a neutral with your chin in a neutral position. Now imagine taking the nose, the middle of your face, and making circles, small circles on the ceiling. So you'll make a movement, a circular movement with the back of your skull rolling on the mat in one direction. Inhaling and exhaling. So this is also allowing some rotation at the base of the skull. And then slow that down. We'll take it to the other direction. So a nice gliding through the connections of your spine and your skull. And then come to neutral again with your chin. And again, we'll come back to that rib cage. Tuck it in towards the mat. Feel the back of your rib cage touch the mat. Just lightly touch it. Great. And then again, the pelvic floor, having that elevator up towards the navel. So we're familiar with the engagement and the location of those bandhas. Let's take a nice inhale and exhale. So right now, we're going to take a full length with the body. I'm going to move my chair out of the way here and reach my arms over the head. So the arms will be next to the ears. Your fingertips are reaching above you, and you just feel that length of your body and the length from your toes all the way to the fingertips. And then inhale here, and on your exhale, we're going to curl and we're going to hug the knees, bend the knees and hug the knees. If it's okay for your neck, you can lift the head into a chin tuck, but if not, you can just leave your head on the floor and then expand, inhale, make ourselves long again, inhale, and then exhale, curl in, squeezing the air out. And then inhale again, expanding those parts of the bandhas in the body, and then exhale, squeeze in, curl. And then when you descend with your feet, let's bring them to the mat so the soles of the feet will be on the mat. And then take the arms next to you, long ways along the body. And we're going to take some pelvic floor awareness here by doing some tilting with the pelvis. So inhale, exhale as you curl the tailbone towards the ceiling. So it's going to be at like a 6 o'clock position from the navel. Just tilt that upward and you'll feel your glutes engage as you lift off the mat slightly. And then exhale, you can just descend the tailbone towards the mat. The arch in the lower back will be accentuated slightly. And then inhale, curl the tailbone up again. We're doing pelvic tilts. Exhale, tailbone towards the mat, and then belly lifts towards the ceiling. So we're just visiting here that support area with the breath. And of course, toning our lower abdominals here. And you'll notice as you do this, become aware of those, the pelvic floor and the diaphragm and the relationship to each other here. When you can inhale, expand as the tailbone lowers towards the mat, they go away from each other, and then exhaling, curling the tailbone up, you'll see they go towards each other, or you'll feel they go towards each other. Great exploration there. So come back to neutral. You'll feel your sacrum on the mat. And we're going to take that into a bridge wave. We're going to accentuate that pelvic curl, and we're going to come up into a bridge. First, let's take the feet to the floor. Make sure all 4 corners of your feet are engaged, pressing. Your knees are hip width apart. And then curl the tailbone up towards the ceiling and lift your pelvis up. Press your arms into the mat. And then just lift up, and you'll notice the diaphragm is lifted now. It's kind of upside down a little bit. That's fine. Inhale. And then you notice that your chin will be tucked towards your chest as your chest reaches towards the chin. And then exhale, you're going to roll down bone by bone back to the mat through the spine. So we're accentuating that curl. And now the tailbone goes towards the mat again. And then we'll curl back up towards bridge, pressing through the length of your arms, pressing through the feet. Let's hold this bridge, press through the feet, press through the arms. Notice the relationship, throat, diaphragm, pelvic floor. And then take your elbows to the mat and bring your fingertips upward towards the sky. So press through your elbows to support your chest reaching towards the chin. And then let's reach the fingertips towards the sky, arms long, robot arms. And then testing that core a little more, let's reach the arms above the head like we were doing with our full length. And you can feel all that core engagement, lift up that elevator through the pelvic floor here to support this. Now bring those arms back towards the ceiling, and then elbows down, and then you're going to snake the spine back down to earth, plant that sacrum down, Great. Now we're going to do the bridge one more time, but we're going to do a pose I'm calling walk under the bridge. So let's curl the tailbone up, come up to a bridge with the support of your arms along the body. Excellent. Actually, it's just probably better supported with your elbows on the mat and your fingertips up towards the sky. So you're feeling supported there through the strength of your arms. Now you're going to lift. See if you can keep that pelvis aligned and even while you lift the right foot off the mat. Press through the weight into the left foot and then place that right foot down. And now inhale, lift your left foot off the mat and your right, then place it down on the mat. So this is just a slight lifting of each foot. But we're testing out the glute strength here, the hamstring strength. You're walking under the bridge. Inhale and exhale. Make sure you lift those hips. I can even feel my hips start to drop. So pressing through the feet and the foot that you're on is really going to help lift that. Okay, let's bring that walk to a close. Take both feet back to the mat and then snake your spine. Back down to the mat. Sacrum planted there. And then we'll take our feet about hip width apart. Actually, make them wider than hip width apart. Take them a little bit wider and then take your knees together. This is going to support your lower back after we did that bridging. So we're going to do crazy legs. Those of you who know what it is, take the right knee and trace the left shin all the way down to the foot. And then come back up along the left shin with the knee, and we'll take it to the other side. The left knee traces the right shin down to the right foot, and then back up along the shin. So the sacrum's lifting off the mat slightly. This is a stretch for your hip flexors and your lower back, as well as doing a nice therapy for the lower spine, all the little intricacies there. And now we're going to take the thumbs to the elbow creases, and your forearms are going to be above your shoulders. So I'm doing that here. And then I'm going to slide my elbows side to side. And this is one of those poses that seals in that connection between the pelvic floor, the diaphragm, and the throat, because we're going to bring the head into this. As the head is part of the spine, you're going to slide your head side to side like we were earlier, but you're going to go in the direction of your legs. Side to side, easy with the breath. And then if you really want to have fun with this, you can have your eyes be a part of this. You can take your eyes and follow the arms with your eyes. I'm not going to do that just so you can hear me. I don't want to face away from the computer too much. I want you to hear me. So this is kind of a twister when it comes to directions, but give it a try. So good. Excellent. Let's bring that to a close. Take the knees apart, and then we'll slide over to our right side and come up to a seated position. And then take your hands to the floor to help you up. Because we've been down there a while, come up slowly. The head can come up last. You can sit up on the edge of that blanket again. We're going to do a modified gate pose. We're going to do a side sit. And I know some of you like the side sit anyway, just for comfort. So this should be fun for you. So we're going to come up on the edge of that blanket, but sit with the left knee is going to be bent and the right knee. The left knee is bent out to the side as in half lotus, but your left foot is going to rest against your right thigh, and your right foot is tucked under behind you. Okay, if this is uncomfortable at all, you can take any other pose you want. You can just put your right foot out to the side, straighten it out, whatever works for you. But if you have a sense of being uneven, which I do, check in with your sits bones. Okay, you'll notice maybe one is lower than the other. Take the blanket and place it more on that, support that side more so that the lower side is actually supported, and you'll see that will even out your hips. Take your hands to your hips so you have a sense of evenness here. Just check in. Notice if there's too much of a tilt. So this is a hip opener because we're going to try to do our half moon, which opens the hips. So let's just take a nice hip opening side bend here. If you have the block nearby, we can place it, let's see, yeah, actually you can place it on either side. Let's place it on the right side to begin with. So I'm placing my block over here. So first off, before we bend, I want to take my right hand to my right thigh, so the top of the right thigh. And then we're going to take the hand to the fingers and rotate the thigh in towards the inner thigh. So in this direction, you can see me, I'm going this direction in. So just so you plug in that hip bone to the top of the femur into the hip socket is what I mean. There you go. And then maybe you can sit more a little on that right side as you do that, feeling that plug-in action happening. So I think I stated that incorrectly about the block, I'm sorry. Place it on your left side. And then take the hand to the right thigh again. And then we're gonna lean over to our left side, to the direction of the left side. Place your forearm, if you can reach your left hand out, your forearm's going to come down to the block. I just have the block there for a little extra support. You can always come down to the floor. And then my left ear is gonna come towards my left shoulder. And as you do this, as I do this, press down through the right thigh, like we were doing, making sure that you get a full stretch on that right side to begin with. Inhale, exhale, those strength centers are curving away this time to the left. And maybe you can take the left hand and reach it up towards the sky, left arm long. I'm sorry, I meant the right. Lord. I'll get the right and left correct one of these days. Reach the right hand up, right arm long, reaching towards the sky. And if this is possible for you, you can bring the right arm next to the right ear. And then we're taking a really long side stretch here. Inhale, exhale. Feeling that right side open up. On your next inhale, float on up to vertical, and we'll take a counter stretch to the other side. Very light counter stretch. Take the block to that side if you're there. And then inhale, grow tall, and we'll lean over to the right. Take the left hand to the left thigh. Just feel that grounding. And then we'll reach the left hand to the sky and maybe the left arm over the left ear. Try not to push too hard on this side. You should not go as far down because of the right knee and the position it's in. And then come on back up to center. And then we're going to switch to the other side to get into the other hip. So gracefully change to the other side. Right knee will be bent in front of you, right foot to the left thigh, tuck the left foot behind you. Let's take the fist to the floor and just shake your pelvis out there. Take the sits bones and see which side is lower than the other. You may want to close the eyes, check that out. Align the throat, the diaphragm, the pelvic floor, and then maybe use that blanket to shift the lower side a little higher. Okay, now we take the block to the right side, take the L with the hand, the left hand to the left hip, and then we'll take that inward rotating action towards the inner thigh. Great, and then we'll reach out for that block with the right hand, maybe bring the forearm down to the block, right ear comes to right shoulder, pressing through that left thigh, making this soft. And then maybe you reach up with the left arm, straightening that up towards the sky through the fingertips. And if you can, bring that left arm next to the left ear for a long side stretch. Supporting with the breath, inhale back up, and we'll take this to the other side. If you want to move the block, we'll come down and take the right L hand to the right thigh, feeling that grounding. Left ear toward left shoulder, reach the right arm long towards the sky, and then maybe reach it over the ear. My right shoulder is not as flexible as my left. Maybe that happens to you too. Try to turn your pinky towards the earth and your palm towards the back of the room, and that may help you a little bit. Big inhale, let's float on back up. Oh. Okay, nice side stretches and hip openers. Now we're going to switch to all fours, and I want you to take that blanket and place it under your knees and come to all fours, knees below the hips and the wrists below the shoulders. Tuck that in so you can see. So in our all fours position, we're going to notice again another alignment for the pelvic floor, diaphragm, and throat. So they're lined up to the side above the earth here. And let's bring them into alignment in all fours. So you've got that nice lumbar curve. You've got your shoulders engaged, squeezing down through the armpits on imaginary magazines rolled under your armpits, and just squeeze down there. Inhale, expand through the rib cage and the belly. Feel the diaphragm expanding towards the pelvic floor. And then exhale, you can feel that energy going up through above to the navel, all the way up through to the throat, and then out through the crown of your head. So support this with your inhale down the spine and your exhale through the middle of your body, so that energy point moving up and down. And now we're going to go into our scared cat. So we're going to tuck the tailbone under. You don't have to look down quite yet. Just tuck the tailbone under, and you allow a C curve in that lumbar spine, and then reach your spine up towards the sky and press down through the hands. Let your head drop. Coming into a full C curve there. And then we're going to slide the hips, go back into child's pose through cat. So our cat is going to turn into child's, widen the knees a little bit, slide the hips towards the feet. And then bring your third eye down to the mat. This should feel really good on the third eye. You can roll your head side to side gently, just massaging that point. Again, feeling your torso aligned here, supported. Excellent. We're going to come back up through cat, arch the spine, tuck the tailbone, come up through cat again to all fours, and then we'll come into cow. Look at your knees, and then the tailbone will reach towards the sky, and then you'll arch the navel towards the earth, and then roll on up through the spine, and your head comes up at the end. Beautiful. Let's take that one more time. So we're going to do a cat, back to child's pose. Support this with a big inhale, exhale. Come down, touch down with your third eye, and then come back up through cat. Beautiful. And then turn this into a cow. Look at those knees. Gently roll bone by bone up that spine, so each little intricacy of the spine gets some movement. Look up at the end. And then tuck your chin back in, so we're coming back to neutral here, and we're going to take a twist. It's called twisted cat. We're gonna take the right arm out to the side. So we're holding that right arm at a horizontal, plug in that shoulder there, like that armpit prompt I've given you before. Look over at your right hand. Look at those fingertips as they come down and they weave under the left armpit, and gently let your right ear come down to the mat, and you're in a twist. I'm going to keep talking. I'll show you momentarily here, and then I'll keep talking when I'm facing you. So you're in a twist, or I can just turn as well. You're in the twist, and you're going to take your left hand and press it gently into the floor so that you can support this twist. Check in, take your left hand briefly to your sacrum, to the bottom of the spine, and just notice if your hips are shifting too much and you want to make sure they stay in some kind of even alignment, not too much side to side. Bring the left hand back down to the earth, press in, see if you can reach the right hand out a little bit further into this twist for the mid and upper back. And then you can walk your left fingertips up to 12 o'clock above your head if this is available for you. By all means, don't push it. Nice, easy twist here. Notice how it affects your breath. And then walk your left fingertips back, press into the earth and unwind your right arm. Come back to all fours. Find a beautiful neutral. And then inhale that left arm up to your side, horizontal. Gaze at those left fingertips. Hold that strong position with your core, and then watch your left hand come under the right armpit. Left ear comes to the mat. Take your right hand to the bottom of the sacrum and just notice that it's pointing towards the back of the room and not crooked. And then take your right hand to the earth, press gently there, helping your mid upper back twist. Maybe you reach out a little with the left hand further, but don't push. This should be easing and melting into every position here. When you're in the full position, just try to allow gravity to relax and release you. If you'd like to walk the right fingertips up above your head, you can do that too. If not, stay with the palm on the earth. On your next inhale, take your right hand to the earth again, and then unwind your left arm. Great. And now we'll come back to that all fours, and we're going to curl the right toes under and straighten the right leg behind you. Okay, and again, tap into those core cues we were talking about: elevator from pelvic floor, diaphragm, throat, and lift the right leg up off the floor. Straighten it out. And now, if you can, lift the left arm to match that, reaching next to the left ear. And then come back down with a nice long breath. Draw those back to the earth, and then we'll curl the left toes under. Straighten out the left leg. Lift that leg off the floor, supported through the core, and let's check in again with that pelvis. Make sure you can balance a cup of your favorite beverage on your sacrum, and then take the right arm out long next to the right ear. Let's take the navel towards the spine to support the core here, and then come back down to earth, touch down. Alternate these sides. Inhale as you come up, and then exhale as you come back down to earth. Alternate, so this is a diagonal movement from the left side to the right, right leg, left arm, and left leg, right arm. I'd love you to get into this movement and just support your breath here as it matches the movement. Excellent. Coming back to neutral. We're going to turn this all fours to face forward. So I'm going to turn it and face you so that my knees are like so, and I'm here, okay? So I'm facing you. And then I'm going to come up to a high kneeling position like that, okay? So I'm going to be high kneeling. This is where we're going to try that modified half moon, which we did on Tuesday. It's a really beautiful pose. Let me fix the camera. Will I do that? Oops, not quite. Maybe you can make an adjustment. I'm going to take my block and put it on my left side. Great, that's perfect. Okay, so let's take the weight into the shins here and the tops of the feet. I don't want you to drive through the knees. I want you to support this. If you want to try, if your knees hurt and you want to try this standing, you can do that too. Let's take that core strength, align all those centers, and then take the right foot out to the side. And take the right foot, toes pointing forward. Take the hands on the hip. Do your best to keep the pelvis even here. Again, there's really no perfect here, but let's lean over to the left side and take our palm down to the block on the left side. Now I want you, as you take that left hand, first check in with the hand and just notice that it's planted there safely. But I want you to take your gaze to some point in front of you, preferably not a moving point, such as a dog or a child, rather some point on the wall or something is still. So we're coming into a sense of balance through the gaze, the drishti, as they say in yogic Sanskrit. So press through that right foot. And now, if you want to test your balance here, you can lift the right foot off the floor. Okay, and if you don't want to test your balance, you can just take a nice long side stretch here. But if you want to test it, you can do this, pressing again through the left shin and the top of the left foot, not the knee. You may even be able to reach your right arm up towards the sky, expanding the collarbones, reaching through the crown of the head. Coming back to our alignment, throat, diaphragm, pelvic floor. Take the right hand to the hip and then push through the left hand, back up, and with the strength of your core support, draw your right knee back into center. So that's one way we can practice half moon instead of standing on it. Let's take it to the right side. And we'll keep working that pose because I think it's a good challenge for people, but not too far of a challenge. We want to be gradual. Take the hands to the hips. We'll take the left foot out to the side. Align the hips, and then lean on over to the right side and take your right hand to the block. Press through that left foot at first to feel that support. Also your right shin and the top of the right foot. And let's see if you can lift that left foot off the mat. You can press through that left foot for another balance point. Align yourself, your torso with the inhales and the exhales. Maybe you take your left arm to the sky. And then take the left hand back to the hip. Bring that foot down, press through the right hand, float on up, and with the strength of your core, draw your left knee back to kneeling. Great work, great work. I know that's its own thing, that balancing on the leg. Let's try it in standing, shall we? Take your block if you have one and place it between your thighs. Okay, now we're gonna take it between the thighs, come up to vertical, and just feel that strength, that extra strength you have when you engage those middle with those the inner thighs. Drop the tailbone, and then take yourself back to an all fours, but keep that block between your thighs. Curl both the back toes under, both of the feet, and then you're gonna push away with the hands and the rib cage will come to the thighs. And now you're gonna walk your hands back towards your feet, squeezing that block. And if you wanna straighten your legs here, you can do that. Hang the head. And then bend the knees. Bring yourself up to a flat back. And then you're gonna take the hands to the hips, align those three energetic strength centers, squeeze the block and bring them all back up, stacked vertically, back up to standing. Very good. Remove the block and we'll try briefly to see if we can do this half moon standing. I've got a chair handy. Take the chair to the left side. Okay. Widen your stance a little bit wider than hip width. Take your left toes pointing towards the chair. This is totally supported by the chair, so any balance issues you should be able to handle with that extra support. Let's look to our left side. So look to the chair. Bend your left knee. Make sure your wonderful knee is going towards your beautiful toes on the left side. Reach out your left hand to the chair. Place the left hand on the chair. And now, before you try to do any balancing, take your gaze back to that point or a point in the distance we were talking about earlier. And take your right toes, tiptoe a little bit up, straighten the left leg, and see if you can come off of that, all your weight onto the right leg. Onto the left leg, goodness gracious. Left leg, pressing through the right foot. So this is a test of balance on your foot. That stacked left leg is your pivot point. Your gaze is keeping you balanced. And of course, all of those three bandhas, they're still aligned. And then we can look down at the hand, bend the knee slightly as you reach back with your right foot. And then come on back up to standing. So this is something we're going to continue to play with, and you just kind of workshop it. It's a great stabilizer for the core and for the hips as well. I'm going to take the other side. So you can flip yourself around or flip the chair around to the right side. We'll take the right toes towards the chair. And then the hands on the hips to begin with. Gaze over your left. Goodness gracious, I am just twisted up today. Gaze over your right shoulder. Look down at your lovely knee and bend that right knee towards the toes, the middle two toes. And then reach down with your right hand on the chair. Bring your gaze back forward to your still point in the distance. And see if you can tiptoe your left toes off the mat as you straighten the right leg. And then you're in that side plane like we were when we were on the floor, but you're doing this through the standing leg. And keep the hand on the hip just because this is just the starter point for this pose. You can look back down at your hand, begin to bend your right knee slowly as you reach back with the left foot towards the floor. And then push away, come back up to standing. Phew, I know this is it's a good tester for balance and for strength. And it's also really builds confidence over time. So let's come back, heel toe, back together. I think I'm going to go to some floor work now just to allow us time to absorb that instead of doing that again, but I think we'll just have to do that again in another class. Let me place the chair to the side. Great, and we'll come back. Let's see, let me put that aside for now. Let's take the block if you have it. Place it between the thighs, come to the bottom of your mat. And we'll go back down to the mat a similar way. Reach the hands up above the head, arms up above the head, swan dive the arms down. If you'd like to bend the knees, you can do that, but squeeze the block, squeeze that block. Maybe you can straighten the legs, but if not, just bring the rib cage over the thighs, walk your hands back out along the mat, and then squeeze that block as you bring your knees back down. And then remove the block. And we'll come to our floor work, to our figure four. If you'd like to cushion the head, let's do that for your head. And come on down, take your soles of the feet to the floor to begin with. Hold the back of the thighs and ease yourself down. Again, feeling after our work together, using that core alignment, just coming down, ooh, as strong as you can, noticing the points where your body wants to just drop. Great. Bring the soles of the feet again a little closer to the body. Inhale the right knee towards the chest. And then we'll take the right ankle to the left thigh. And just feel the hip open here. Take the right palm to the right thigh. Press against the thigh and press the thigh into the hand. And then release that. Feel the hip open. Inhale, let's see if you can bring that left leg up into a tabletop. So you're pressing through the left foot. You can bring your hands behind your left thigh. And if you don't want to, you can just leave the left foot on the floor. That's okay. We're just stretching out our hips here and our hip flexors. Beautiful. You can even take the left leg, if this is available to you, and straighten that out towards the ceiling. If not, just keep it bent. It's fine. You don't have to throw the hamstring bonus in there, only if you want to. This is plenty stretch on its own. Making sure our deep inhales and exhales support the movement and the release. Bring the left foot back down to the earth. Unwind the right leg. Inhale the left knee in towards the chest. And we'll take the left ankle to the right thigh. And then take your left hand palm to that left thigh. Press into the thigh and press the thigh into your hand. And then release. Take a couple rounds of breath to support the opening of the left hip without hurrying it anywhere. Keeping your feet super active here. See if you can bring the right leg into tabletop and then grab the back of the right thigh with your hands, opening up our left hip. Roll the shoulders away from towards the earth, so that you can feel they're not slouching upward. If you want to straighten your right leg, please do that bonus stretch, but if not, you can keep it bent and just get the left hip open. Exhale long, and then bring the right foot back down to the earth. Gently unwind your left foot. Okay, and then we'll take bound ankle pose. So we're going to take our soles of the feet together, knees wide. And then in this position, you can take the feet out really far towards the bottom of the mat or close to the body, whatever's more comfortable for you. You can also place blocks or pillows under your thighs, but we won't be here very long. I just wanted to introduce this. Deep inhale, feel again that alignment, pelvic floor, diaphragm, throat, supporting the breath, the path of breath. The expansion as you breathe in, and then the engagement, elevator, pelvic floor, lower ribs, throat, squeezing the air out. So again, another hip opener here. Palms up to the ceiling. You can even take a rocking your knees gently side to side, no force, just a little inch at a time. Very good. One more big inhale. Exhale, see if that releases a little bit more energetically through the hips. And we'll take the hands to the thighs and bring the knees together with the support of the hands. And then back to that block. I'm gonna have the block, you take the block if you have it. If you don't worry about it. You can still tee the knees together. We're gonna take the block between the thighs to do a twist. So just take the block between the thighs and roll over onto your left side. Bring the palms together in front of the shoulders, and we're just squeezing that block to support our alignment here and the engagement of the inner thighs. Take the right fingertips, draw them along the left arm, bring the hand to the heart, elbow to the sky, and then open up your elbow. If it's available for you, you can straighten out your right arm. And your arms ideally are in a T, but if you want to also rest your right hand on your rib cage, that's perfectly fine for this gentle twist. If you want to increase the twist, you can take the left elbow, press it into the earth, and just feel that twist open a little bit more, but not, like I said, no force here. Just squeeze that block so that aligns your pelvis and keeps it even. Melting the body into that sense of gravity, working your release downward. And then let's close the hands, close the arms like a book, and then squeezing that block, roll over onto your back, and then roll completely over onto your right side, keeping that block between the knees. Bring the palms together, left on top of right. Trace the right arm with the left fingertips. Bring the left hand to your heart, elbow to the sky, and then begin to twist from the rib cage, the shoulders, the neck. Let's see if all those bandhas can be aligned here. You can keep your left hand on the rib cage or unfold your arm out into a T, with gazing over the left fingertips. You can even just look up at the sky as well, that's fine. Pressing the right elbow into the earth, you can increase that twist if you'd like. Squeezing that block, feeling the nice strength through the pelvic floor, through the pelvis, that even pelvis. And then let's close that book with the left arm, grabbing a cloud, bringing it back to the right side. Palms meet. And then again, squeeze that block as you roll over onto your back. And now you can make yourself comfy, cushion the head, and we'll give ourselves a nice little self massage here. So you can just take your hands to whatever area feels tight to you. Me personally, it's my calves. So I like to just give them a little massage, or maybe the backs of the thighs. Hands-on contact, which is really nice in an in-person yoga class. Sometimes the teacher, myself, other people come up and give you some adjustment or lines of intention. We can't do that on Zoom. So let's try to give that to ourselves, making sure our body's aligned and has nice supportive touch. So when you bring the thighs, when you straighten your legs out into Shavasana, just see if you could take the palms to the thighs and remind them to ground down through the earth and just absorb that downward release. The lower back has a nice curve, so it's lifted off the mat. Sacrum is on the mat. Palms open up to the sky. Roll the shoulders underneath you. And now close the eyes again. Coming back to the breath, to an internal space. Roll the feet out to the side, completely release. Notice any shift in energies through that core of the body, the pelvic floor, diaphragm, throat, swirling energies that are always there. But in these still moments, we notice the effect of our movement on our energy. Just relax the eyes, the ears, the tongue, the throat, the shoulders, the organs, the whole back, the hips, the thighs, the shins and the calves, the ankles and the feet, the arms and the hands, and the fingers and the toes. One deep inhale and long, easy exhale. Bring your soles of the feet to the floor, bend the knees. Bring the knees together as you come over onto your right side. One more inhale and exhale before you allow yourself to come up with the support of your hands to a seated position. Take the hands in crisscross your arms and bring your palms to the upper chest, supporting the heart space. Inhale and exhale, supporting yourself and your practice, and then come to prayer position with your hands, pressing the hands together. Feel the alignment, the strength inside of you. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me today, and thank you to Huckleberry, my wife, for doing the tech in the background. Namaste. Thanks, everyone.